Three, two, one. What's up, George? What's going on in the House of Craze tonight?
In the House of Craze tonight, we have a four-time guest.
Wow.
A four-time
You've
guest.
been doing your homework. Wow.
She's been on the show 4 times.
May the fourth be with you.
We're going to be talking to Sarah Cooke about her brand new Kickstarter that she has live right now. And we're also going to be talking about bags and boards.
Bags and boards.
We'll explain that in just a little bit.
Yeah, man. Without further ado, let's get it.
We are the only show for independents all around, giving you a platform to spread your word all over town. Cast the Craze is the place to promote to your fans with the Dreamer, Medina, and Sam the Crazy Man. Subscribe to our show and never miss an episode. It's time to get your mans, listen to us on the go. Updated every week, we never miss a day. Join the squad, come on in. It's time to catch the Craze. If you are an independent, catch the Craze. Making moves on your own, catch the Craze. On your grind in the streets, catch the Craze. Join the movement, catch the Craze.
Yeah, George, we did it again. Come on now. You know you want to do it. Catch the Craze. Welcome to Catch the Craze podcast. I'm your host with the most, Sam the Crazy Man, Sarah, and I am with
George, the Dreamer, Medina. What's happening, everyone? Welcome to another exciting episode of Catch the Craze. It is Tuesday, March 25th, 8 p.m. here in the East Coast, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Lou Hans is in the house. What's up, everyone? Thank you for joining us tonight. If you haven't done so yet, please make sure to subscribe, comment, like. Make sure you like the video, share it out to your friends. We have a very special guest with us tonight. She's been on the show, like I said earlier today, 4 times.
a whole lot of
times.
Yes,
Every
we've been there from the beginning, bro.
Yeah. She came here, I guess 3 years ago now with
I feel like we're Star Search, bro.
Yeah, with her first project.
Star Search.
She had no spell lasts forever, and now she's on her 4th issue of that book. Yeah. So she's gonna come on, talk to us about that. But yeah, dude, it's been she's been here the whole time. And we have a Get Your Meds segment. We're gonna do it again like we did last time. We're gonna bring in Sarah, talk to her, and then we'll do the Get Your Meds after the fact. So get comfortable. It's gonna be a fun show. What's going on, Sammy?
Sammy's grinding, bro. Grinding.
Sammy's grinding.
You know, next week is the Kickstarter, bro. We launch, you know, right, issue number 7, bro.
Yeah, so April 1st, right? Next week.
Next week, bro. It's crazy. And this is probably I posted yesterday. This issue has probably stretched me the most as an artist.
Oh yeah.
As an artist and as a writer. I really, really want to make, because this is the beginning to the end, right? So this after this, there's 3 more issues. I mean, 8, 9, and 10. And then
that's right.
You know, so and in this, there's so much happening in this issue, right? You know, Doody has a dream sequence, right? You know, you have Ghost Hunters, No Boo for You, catching ghosts of what we do. You have Agent Doe closing in on him. You got the pirates, you know, getting close to Earth's orbit, right? Because they want to take Doody ransom. They call nasty piece of work, NPOW, right? They want to get Doody, hold him ransom because they know that he's a son of the head of Uranus, and you know, you have the janitor. The janitor pops in, right? The janitor made a cameo, and you know, is he a conspiracy theorist? Does he know something that we don't know? Does he have the key, you know, to the other realms? You know, so there's so much happening in this issue that I really, really wanted to push myself. Like I really wanted to push myself with the scenes, the humor. You know, I mean, I probably with the script did like 7 different drafts, right? Because each time I'm like just channeling Doody in the moment. So like I'll close my eyes and I'll get into the room where Doody is at the time, and I'm seeing it through his eyes. I'm like, how would we react, Doody? And Doody's speaking to me, and next you know, I gotta write it down. I write it down. So this has probably been the most fun, and not only that, it's all encompassing. I mean, this is probably the biggest Kickstarter so far with regards to there's a collector's box, there is a soundtrack. There are pogs. There's a trading card tied to this issue itself, series. There's stickers that's specifically for this series itself. Everything is tied to this series, and it's probably the most excited I have been for a campaign. And it's been a minute. I mean, the last one I did was probably last a year. So it's, I took some time off because I was on the convention circuit, and that took a lot of my time. So I intentionally took off April, May, and June from conventions so I can focus on launching the campaign, fulfilling the campaign, and get everything out into everybody's hands. And in case you're wondering about the soundtrack, you're like, yo, you can't just skip that, Sam. What are you talking about, a soundtrack? I just want to let everybody hear it. Here is the special preview. There are 3 tracks. You're only getting the hooks. And here they are. This is Doody from Uranus, Doody Juice, and Super Doody.
Spicy pepper, what a sight. Doody the green alien trying to stay unseen. Herman thinks he's a jalapeno, bright and mean. But Doody's not a pepper, no, he's not that hot. He's just an alien trying to avoid getting caught. Super Doody, hero true, standing up for me and you. Every bully runs away when Super Doody saves the day. Doody, 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 from the stars he came with the Super Doody juice. He will win this game. Herman the shoe won't walk, thinks Doody is a spicy treat, but Doody's got all the courage and he can't be beat.
He can't be beat. It's awesome. It's awesome. I'm just having the time of my life with this one. And if you're out there, after we do the Get Your Meds, I'll show you a sneak peek of one of the pages to the series, give you a taste of what I'm talking about when I'm saying it's really stretching me. This one page that I'm going to show you guys, I mean, it was like over 12 hours of doing it, from pencils, inks, colors, all in one day. So I'm excited. Next week, it's next Tuesday. We're launching right here on Cast the Craze podcast. We'll have a guest from 7 to 7:30, and at 7:30 we're launching. And there is a 48-hour special bundle that comes with the collector box, and there's only 10 of those, and it'll go after those first 48. So it's a steal. You're saving with this bundle, and so there's so much more to share with it. But that's what's going on. I'm just really focusing on launching There's Nail in My Toilet, book number 7, No Boo for You. That's it. We're coming for you. And is Doody a ghost hunter, or what is Doody? I don't understand, but we'll find out. So what's going on in your world, homie?
Well, I've been busy working on the shameless plug. Big shout out to End of Zed. I don't know if he's in the chat, but he asked last week when we were on, he asked about an update for it, and I didn't get a chance to do that. But the shameless plug is coming along. The first 34 pages are complete. Big shout out to my artist, Joseph Olesko, who's out in the Philippines. He's doing a phenomenal job with the book. Can't wait to show you guys some of the pages on my social media. So if you follow me at Get Your Meds on Instagram, check me out there. Also go to my website and I'll have some updates there. Also, I'm going to be at a convention. I know you got some conventions coming up, Sam. We didn't even talk about that yet. But I have a convention coming up at the end of April 26th through the 20, whatever it is. It's in Jersey. It's a Super Jersey comic show expo. I got to get the name. I got to get all that together. Mr. San Martino, who's always in the chat, is going to be there. I'll be out there with Mr. Syfax. Jonathan will be with me. And it's going to be fun. I'm going to have the first issue of The Adventures of Wonder Duck out of the graphic novel for the first time. I will have the first issue there. And that's in line with what we're going to be talking about a little later about the cost of producing some of these comics and, people's buying habits. So I'll have that. It's going to be good. It's going to be a fun time. So if you are in Jersey, I'll have the information on my website. Check that out. And then what up, man? It's just been a crazy year, man, so far. It's
definitely been
to end. March's about to end. April's about to begin.
Crazy, bro.
Yeah.
Crazy. It's like, come on, we just celebrated New Year's and it's already midway through, bro. It's like Father Time trying to age all of us. It's like, what's up? Slow down the clock. What's the matter with you?
I'd like to say that it's the lighting that's doing this to my beard down here, but nah, dog, that's some white. That's some white, son.
That's some white, bro. I got reading glasses now, bro.
Oh, yes.
I got it's ridiculous, bro. I used to be Superman, and now I'm like, what the heck?
Now you Clark Kent. You Clark Kent, bro. You Clark Kent now.
Speaking of things, Doody does have we did a cover for Charter Comics.
That's right.
William Russell, his Psycho Sal. William hit me up at a convention. He's like, I'd love for you to do a mashup of Doody with Psycho Sal for a cover. And it's coming out next week. He's actually launching on his Kickstarter as well. So here's Doody as Psycho Sal. And that's the cover that he picked. I gave him 2 options and they voted, Charter Comics voted on this one. So it's going to be available on that Kickstarter. You're a fan of Doody, you're a fan of Psycho Sal, you get the best of both worlds. Go and get yourself a copy. It's going to be dope. And not only that, but Herman has his own story. That's what I forgot to tell everybody. So if you want to see one of the sample pages from Herman's story, stick around after our interview. I'll show it to you with a page from the series. But it comes out on Free Comic Book Day. So Better Comics is the publisher, and they approached me at a Comic-Con. They also host their own Comic-Con, and they approached me at a Comic-Con, and they said, "Hey, we'd love for you we'd love to publish you in an anthology. Do you have a story?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." So I always wanted to tell Herman's story. So it's an 8-page story, and I'll be doing a book signing in Texas at one of the bookstores on Free Comic Book Day, signing copies of the book. It'll be published throughout Texas and on Free Comic Book Day. So right now, about 16 plus comic stores in Texas will have the book on Free Comic Book Day. So I'm excited about that. So you want to see a sample, stick around. You'll get some insight into what makes Herman tick and how he became who he is. So those are 2 exciting projects, 2 different publishers, 2 different projects, trying to get Doody out there. Hey, if you have a comic book you're publishing, you want to get down and get Doody to do a mashup, hit me up. I'll give you my rates. We'll make a deal, make it happen, and we can get you your Doody going on your comic book as well. So what's going on, man?
Yeah, dude. I mean, there's so much. I'm gonna have more announcements too, as far as Wonder Duck and what I'm doing with that for the rest of the year. But I'm holding off on that a little bit. And yeah, I mean, to your point, Sam, like, you know, part of what we do is not just create our own books and find a way to, you know, help us with the cost of producing them. Is one of the ways we do that. Some of the ways we do that is like what you're talking about, you know, just freelance work, such as, like you said, if you need a cover, Sam, if you need lettering, I do lettering also. So if you guys have anything, you know, any books that you guys have that you're like, oh, I need a letterer, hit me up, because we also do that. So yeah, it's a grind, it's a hustle. You know what I mean? It's part of the dream of creating comics, and we got to do what we got to do.
Yeah, man. Every day, I'm hustling. All right, so we got our guest in the waiting room, chomping at the bits. I didn't put any snacks in the green rooms, and there's no drinks in there, and she's been sitting there. I'm a horrible host, but we're gonna bring in Sarah Cooke back on the show. Let's welcome. What's up? Welcome back.
Hi. Yeah, good to be back for the 4th time.
Yeah.
Times. I think you might be the first 4-time guest. We'll have to do some research. We might have to get you like a little blazer, like sort of like SNL, Saturday Night Live does that for the 5-timers Club. We may have to do something like that for you. But welcome back, Sarah. I missed the last time you were here. I kind of caught some of that when you were here with Sam. You guys had a very nice conversation about just creating and you know, and producing these comics. So for those who might have missed that interview, just introduce yourself real quick.
So I am a comics writer. My kind of the project I've been most focused on is No Spell Lasts Forever, which is a modern fantasy. And yeah, I've written a bunch of other stuff. I have some stuff in some anthologies, and yeah, lots of projects I've been working on.
Yeah, good for you. Good for you. I you know, Sam and I were talking about the projects we're working on, but yeah, you also keep yourself busy, and I love the fact that you're a writer and you don't stop when the Kickstarter begins or when the Kickstarter ends. You're constantly moving. You're constantly doing stuff.
And there's always something going on.
Yeah. Right now, obviously, you have No Spells Last Forever, which I love the title, and I want to talk to you more about that.
Thanks.
But I know that you have done I think you had I saw another Kickstarter on the list of Kickstarters you did. You created, it was like an anthology book, right?
Yeah, it was a sci-fi anthology that I
Yes.
did last year with lesser known comics. It was called
Mm-hmm.
Faster Than
Mm-hmm.
Light.
Mm-hmm.
And we've actually got the second volume of it coming out this summer.
Nice.
Wow. Yeah, yeah. Lesser known comics, great guys over there.
Yeah, for sure.
Great team. So you're working with them and you're doing more. Like, what was your involvement in that anthology? Did you write some of the stories or?
I wrote one of the stories and I edited the anthology.
Oh, wow. Okay, okay. Now, is editing something that you do freelance wise, or is that something that you offer for other indies, or is that something that you kind of just, you know?
It's not something that I've kind of offered as a freelance thing. I did it for this anthology, and I've done it for just other creators I've collaborated with, kind of here and there. I really enjoy it. It's not something I've offered as like a professional thing,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
I do enjoy it when I do it.
It's a tough. I think it's one of the most important gigs within the comic book
Yeah.
community. I think having a really good editor, I think, is very important. And the thing with editing too is that you have to find the editor who kind of like doesn't want you to write the way they write, but
Mm,
lets you write the way you write. Just, kind of there to make it make sense.
Yeah.
Like, just
yeah.
make it make sense. And I think that that's very important because sometimes, when you get the wrong one, they're telling you how to write your story, and that's not
Mm.
what you should be doing.
Yeah, it's super important. I've been lucky and gotten to work with some really great editors.
Hmm.
Um, and I feel like it's helped me grow so much as a writer working with them.
Yeah,
Um, like not only helped the individual stories, but just helped me as a writer overall
yeah.
get
I,
better.
when you were on last time with Sam, you guys were talking about just the fear of failure, and I
Yeah.
think Hugo had asked a great question about fear of failure versus fear of success,
Mhm.
and you
Mhm.
guys spoke a little bit about that. Since you've been on with Sam, have you found that I guess that success you've gained, has it changed you in any way? What has it done for you? What has it taught you? What has it, what are some of the lessons you learned from some of the success you've had? Because you've had a few successful Kickstarters.
Yeah, I think maybe the main thing is kind of the more that I do it, I think I actually am growing and
Hmm.
building
Hmm.
my skills and getting better with each one. Um, just as a writer, but also as just like navigating a Kickstarter and everything you need to do for that. But also, I think just doing it more helps me feel like I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, yeah,
It just makes me feel a little bit more like I have my footing a little bit. I think I'm probably still nervous about the same things. I do still have that fear of failure and their anxieties about success too. Um, but each time I feel like I've got my footing a little bit more as I go.
yeah. Again, when I was listening, I think part of the fear of success is that imposter syndrome, right?
Hmm.
That kicks in. I think it's
Yeah.
like that fear of success is, man, why do they like my stuff? Like, is it really that good? Maybe they're just
Yeah.
being nice. Maybe I'm not really not, but you have to get over that and you have to continue doing it, because you are good at what you do. And I mean, I've read the stuff you've put
Oh,
out, and
thank
it's really, really
you.
good. No, it's good stuff. So I'm glad you're continuing it. I know that this book, No Spell Lasts Forever, is a 6-issue miniseries, right?
Yeah.
Or at least, is this the first 6 issues of the first arc, or how are you working that out? Like, is it done at the 6, or are you going to continue it?
It's I read it so that it could be done at 6.
Mm, mhm.
I have ideas for sequels and prequels. Um, I'm not sure what'll ever happen with any of those.
Yeah.
But I wrote it so that it would have a satisfying ending at the end of number 6.
I love that. Yeah, I love that. You obviously, I don't want to give anything away, and I don't want to, spoil anything of the book. What can you tell us? Hey, what's up, Casey? What can you tell us about the book? Maybe just a synopsis, where we are right now. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so the book is about a magic using criminal named Rosette, who, when we first kind of meet her back in issue 1, she's just kind of using her magic to do crime and to work with other criminals. Um,
That's cool.
and we kind of learn. over the course of the story that part of the reason that she does that is she's been told since she was a kid that her magic is dangerous, and she's been kind of made to feel like she's dangerous and she's bad because of that. And so kind of feels like, you know, maybe this is sort of the best life someone like her can hope for.
Mhm.
So that's where she is in issue 1. She, as a result of her crimes, kind of meets an early death and makes a deal with the devil for a second chance at life.
Mm.
Um, and the deal is she has to corrupt one truly good soul. So she identifies someone and starts kind of hatching a plan to corrupt this person. And issue 4, where we're at now, is the previous issues, she's kind of been just letting that plan kind of play out and continuing with that plan. Issue 4 is where she really has to put it into action, and
Mhm.
she has to make a
Ah.
decision like, do I really want to do this, or do I want to try to be a better person? And that's where she's at in this issue.
That's freaking awesome. I have a bunch of like writing questions for you, but I don't know, Sam, did you have something you wanted to ask?
No, ask the question.
Sam?
Go ahead.
Oh, so no, so no spells last forever. The title got me right off the bat. How did you come up with the title? Was that something that took you a while to do? Did the title come first and then you wrote the story off of that title? Tell me a little bit about how you create, because I think that that's so important. Like a good title is very important. Obviously, the
Yeah.
artwork, it's a comment, it's a visual medium, and the story, but that title has to grab you. Where did that come from?
Yeah, it did take me a while to come up with
Yeah.
it because I wanted something that sounded noir, but also something that sounded fantasy. And I played around with a bunch of different titles. I One of the editors for it is Chris Staros, who was offering editing sessions when I was writing the scripts, which was amazing. And so I was playing around with a few of these different titles with him, and he suggested one. I don't remember what his version was,
Mhm.
but it was something similar to this. And then I kind of went off of that and came up with No Spell Lasts Forever.
Yeah, no, it's really good. That's really good. The Devil and Max Devlin, minus Buck Cosby. And the Zed is in the house. What's up, everybody? Thank you guys for joining. So okay, so now it's a 6-issue miniseries. Did you plot it out that way? Are you a plotter or a pantser? You know, the person who plots everything out, or somebody who writes by the seat of their pants? Like, how do you write? What's your method?
I do plot everything out.
Hmm.
Um, and there's always stuff that kind of changes and evolves as you're writing. So I do try to allow room for that too. But I plot everything pretty closely. I kind of feel like I need to know, like issue by issue or scene by scene, like
Mhm, mhm.
what are the important beats in
Right,
this scene.
right.
I do plot it out quite a bit.
Do you have like beat sheets, or is it like how do you like kind of like get the pacing down? Because I think sometimes when
Yeah.
we're writing, obviously everything is here and we know what we want to do. How do you kind of like get all of that stuff to make sense on paper so that the pace
Yeah.
is right and all that other stuff is coming out smooth? What are some of the methods that you use to get all that straight?
I've tried doing like writing things out on a poster,
Hmm, hmm,
but I'm
hmm.
doing like way too much erasing and it just gets too much. So I just start with the Google Doc and I just write a really long outline, just for myself. That's usually ends up being like 10, 13 pages, something like that. Um, and then I refine it from there
Yeah.
and try to work it down into like an actual sort of manageable, realistic outline, and then break it down by issue after that. And I work with an editor at the outline stage too.
Oh, really?
At this point, which wasn't something that I did with No Spell. With it, I waited until I had all the scripts written to work with an editor. Um, but on more recent things, I've been working with editors at the outlining stage, which has been hugely helpful.
Because
Really?
yeah, so why that approach? Because that's unique. You're the
Hmm.
first I've
Yeah.
heard say that at that stage,
Yeah.
right? So why go that route?
It's for me, I feel like it helps me to have another set of eyes. Um if if there's something that I'm trying to work out that I'm stuck on and I can't quite work it out, having another set of eyes, or if there's something like, well, is my pace, like I feel like my pacing is off a little bit here, but how does it look to this other person? That it's helpful at that stage.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I don't have to go back and change stuff later.
You mentioned your main character in the book, right? She dies. I guess it's part of the whole thing. Was that always in the original like idea? Was it for her to die in the first issue so that the story can go on, or was that something that you were debating whether you were like, do I kill her off now? Do I wait? Like, when did you make the decision to say, okay, this is when she's off, and then we go from there?
Yeah, that was pretty much something I wanted to do from the beginning. It felt like this is like her inciting incident is when she dies.
Yeah.
And it felt like that was the right way to kind of start things off with where she was at in her story.
So it's a 6-issue run. So are you doing 3 acts, or is it like a 3-act structure using a 5-act structure? Like how are you splitting it up so that?
Yeah, pretty much 3-act structure.
3 acts. So the first 2, then that's awesome. No, I'm fascinated by like just the just how you write and put these things together. Talk to me a little bit about the artist on the book, because obviously it's a visual medium. How did you meet? Is it Ezzy? Is that how you pronounce their name?
Easy to Savannah.
Yes. So tell me a little bit about Easy.
Yeah, he's great, and I love his art, and he's super talented, and just like as a person, really great to work with.
Yeah.
And it's funny, like the artist for issue 1 is different. Issue 1 was by Aimee Holly, who I connected with on Instagram and also DeviantArt. I forget which one I reached out to her on first. Instagram, I think. But she was also really great to work with, but working and going to school. So I don't know how she managed to finish issue 1. Actually, it's impressive. But she had to kind of step back after issue 1. And Easy I had just connected with on Fiverr. He did the back cover art, and he had done a bunch of promotional art for the comic. So he already knew the comic and the tone, and I already knew that he was great to work with. So I asked him if he was interested in being the lead artist, and luckily he was.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's tough, I think, to go from one artist to the other and try to find that balance between the two art, because it's different art, styles of art.
Yeah, and their styles are definitely different, but I think both capture the tone really well.
No, I agree 100%. And they do everything, right? Pencils, inks, and colors. It's like book, right? Wow.
Which is impressive.
Yeah. How quickly do they turn the books around? Because I feel like we've had you on the show a few times. I mean, I feel like, it's like a 6 to 9 month period where you guys are kind of producing the books, right?
That's what it's been so far. This year, we're trying to actually do 2 campaigns. We're shooting to do number 5, hopefully, next winter. It's not 100 or this coming winter. So that's our goal, and then we'd have number 6 wrapping it up next year.
Wow. Are you I know. Are you putting it together into one big, graphic novel, or?
Yeah, I do think I'd like to do a trade at some point.
You are. Okay. Yeah, that would be cool. Is how do you pronounce her name? Aimee, is that how you pronounce her name?
Aimee, yeah.
Aimee. Do you think she'd be interested in coming back for maybe a cover for something like that? Or have you talked to her since about doing any work?
Yeah, I've thought about that. And she actually did do some art for, I think it was number 3. She did some promotional art, and the Kickstarter had her image. Oh, maybe that was number 2. I'll have to go back and look. But I've worked with her on some little things here and there since then. I'd love to have her come back and do a cover.
Yeah.
Like for either for the trade or for number 6.
When you guys were talking last, Sam asked you about obviously when you're writing your script, you send it out to the artist, and the back, not the back and forth, but obviously you get some pages, you make sure that everything looks right, and then how is that process? Has that process changed since the last time you were here? You guys, is it getting smoother where you're like, you don't even have to worry about it, you know exactly what Easy's going to give you, and you're good to go? How has that evolved?
Yeah, I think it's definitely getting smoother. Just the more that we work together, And the more I kind of know what to expect from him and his style, and the more that he it just gets comfortable with the script, and the more that we, I guess, just kind of build on our dynamic together, it's definitely getting smoother. I think we have more of a shorthand now than we did when we first
That's
started.
awesome. That's awesome. Where is he? Where's he located? Where's he at? Where's he out of?
He is and isn't this terrible? I don't know the city, but he's in Brazil.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and the reason why I asked that question is because sometimes, obviously the language barrier sometimes could be, especially for like my artist and Big Shot, I mentioned him earlier. He's in the Philippines. All right. When I send him a script, I always have to, obviously there are some, like maybe whether it's a pop culture reference or something like that maybe they won't, he may not understand. I feel like I have to kind of like, all right, maybe let me make sure that he does. Have you ran into any of that stuff where you had to like explain like, oh, okay, let me explain this a little better because it's not, it's not working on the page yet?
Maybe a little bit here and there, but we haven't had that issue too much.
That's awesome.
Luckily.
Yeah. And it's great to work with somebody like that, right? And even because even when there is something like that, they're willing to kind of go in there and just change it right away. That's the biggest thing. And I think that now, because a lot of artists, I don't know, do they work in digitally or is it traditional?
Digitally, yeah.
Yeah, it's so much easier to make the changes. Like if you ask them, hey, can you make a quick change? They can do it like that. And I feel like that happens now for me as well. But I'm so happy that you've gotten, so far in this book. I mean, 4 issues is quite an accomplishment. It really
thanks.
is. Yeah, it really is. What other things are you working on? I know you said you had a few other projects. What is there anything that you can maybe just talk about that, past No Spells Last Forever?
Yeah, volume 2 of my sci-fi anthology, Faster Than Light, is coming out later this summer.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
And I've got a couple of shorts that stuff keeps falling off my bookshelf. A couple of shorts that I'm excited about. My Mad Cave short is coming out in one of their quarterlies, and I'm doing a couple of paper cuts shorts in a couple of their anthologies. Nice. And the second volume I was in a while back, I had a short in a fantasy anthology called Concrete Arcanum. And volume 2 of it is coming out later this year, and I have a short in that one. So
awesome. Holy cow. How has it been working with these bigger publishers like Mad Cave and like, Paper Cuts? How's that experience been for you? Because that's big. That's big time, I think, like that's congratulations on that.
Oh, thank you. It's been really cool. Like all the editors I've worked with there have been just really supportive and encouraging me to pitch stuff, and
that's awesome.
I feel like I've learned a lot. It's been really great, and the artists I've worked with on these projects have been very cool and super talented.
Yeah. Oh man, that's amazing. And I know you guys had a whole conversation about pitching, and the fact that it sounds like you just keep getting better and better at this thing. It's freaking amazing.
I hope so. One of the things that I thought was really interesting that one of the Mad Cave editors told me, Maverick, it was Lauren Hitzhusen at Maverick, who's awesome. Said that just try to put as much of yourself into the pitch as you can, which I think is something that I had been maybe holding back a little bit in some of my pitches. Like I feel like I would be putting myself in the story if I were writing it. But into the pitch, I think that maybe I've kind of been concerned about like making sure that I'm getting across the mechanics of the story and I don't have plot holes or whatever it is, and not putting as much of the kind of emotional and personal stuff into it. So that's kind of the thing I'm trying to work on with pitches.
Oh, okay. Yeah, at least what's going on. Yeah, no, that sounds amazing. So for those who maybe just joined us at Ellie's Barney, thank you for coming by. We're talking to Sarah Cooke. She's got a Kickstarter right now for her book, No Spell Lasts Forever. And this is issue number 4. It's live on Kickstarter right now. You have how many more? You have 23 days to go.
Yeah, right? We still got a while.
Yeah. Was this a 31-day campaign or?
30 days, yeah.
30-day campaign. Okay. And you've reached your goal. I mean, you're past the goal. The goal was 1,200. Yeah. You're at 1911 right now, 113 backers. So that's freaking amazing. That's freaking amazing. Yeah, it really is. It really is. So when will you be fulfilling? Like once I know it ends in 23 days, which is April 17th. When will you be fulfilling the campaign?
Should be starting right after all the art is done. So pretty much I'll just have to
Oh,
get the comics printed out.
that's cool. Yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad you said that. So the artwork is done and ready to rock
Yeah.
and roll. Awesome. Awesome. What else you got,
So
Sammy? You got something?
yeah, so you've been doing this for a minute and lots have changed, right? We've had you on the shows 4 times, and each time I've seen you blossoming in this level of confidence that's really exudes. So when you look back, like what are the three things, the key things that really define how you approach self-publishing, creating your own works from the moment, from the beginning to where you entered to where you are now? What are the three things that stuck with you that you take with you going forward?
I think one of the biggest is just building community. Because I think I could not have done this without all of the other creators I've connected with, and editors I've connected with, even going back to before issue number one, before we even started on the art. Um, I joined Tyler James's Comics Lunch group,
Mhm.
and just connecting with people there and learning from them and being able to kind of cross promote each other's projects and the people I've worked with at Mad Cave and lesser known comics. I couldn't have done like any of this without connecting with other creators. Um, and I think that's probably the biggest. I think Lauren's advice about putting yourself into it is applicable not just to pitches but to all of your work.
Yeah.
And something that I've been thinking about a lot, kind of looking at future projects. And I think about like, I don't know, stuff that I love. And if you look at like James Tynan's work, and he talks in interviews about how he has like literal self-insert characters in his stories. And I haven't done that. But I have been thinking a lot about like, why is this something that is important to me? And why do I think that I have something to say about this particular topic? I think like with No Spell, it's Rosette's whole journey is not exactly like mine, but I think it's for her, it's all about kind of learning to have sort of faith in herself and to believe in herself. And, that's something that I relate to a lot. Um, those are probably a couple of the biggest. And then I think just kind of keeping with it, like there's so much to do outside of the actual writing, just
Yeah.
like all the admin stuff and creating Kickstarter pages and doing all of the work that goes along with it is like can feel overwhelming at times.
Yeah.
But just being able to like recognize when you're feeling overwhelmed and step back momentarily and then come back to it and just keep kind of going with it in a way that feels sustainable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's fascinating. Yeah, and you're right. I mean, I think it took me a month I just finished the Kickstarter page. With all the things that the graphics and all that stuff. So it's a full-time job as much
It
as
really
creating the
is.
project, right? So it's like I was having PTSD of why I only did one last year, right? So I was like, because there's just so much work behind it.
Absolutely, dude. I did one, I think, in 22, and I haven't gone back to doing it. It's just, it's a lot.
That's
It's a
yeah.
lot, you
I
know?
was like anxiety, bro.
Yeah.
But no,
Yeah.
it's fascinating. I mean, I think we were joking about it, like Star Search, but it's funny. What I love about this, and I love about watching your journey, is that we've seen you grow. We've watched you
Mhm.
grow. We've watched you grow. Enter the game with a lot of questions, and you were navigating this space, and then you seem to find your rhythm you
Oh,
know
yeah.
and then it shows with everything you do, because I was saying to
Thank
you, I
you.
mean, I get your feeds, I get your posts, and I'm like, wow, I look at this versus when you first started. I'm like, wow, look how much she's grown, right? And it's just attention to detail. So kudos to you. It's really good. I love being in this seat because we get to be a spectator of the sport as well, uh,
Mhm.
and watch it. So for those coming after you, one key advice that you would give to anybody, wanting to get into this crazy world of comics?
One piece of advice. I think it probably would be just to kind of take it a piece at a time. Because looking back at some of the stuff that I was doing back with issue 1 and how sort of differently I do certain things now, and just everything that has, like all of the knowledge that you kind of build doing campaign after campaign and connecting with the creators here and another creator here, and just kind of the more that you learn as you go along. I think it's like, I think when you're first starting out, it can either be like really daunting and you can think like, how am I ever going to get there? Or you can feel like you're putting pressure on yourself to just jump to the end immediately. But I think if you just kind of stick with it and go a piece at a time and learn this new thing and this new thing, then eventually you'll get there.
All right. So we've come to the elevator pitch. I'm going to give you the screen. I want you to, tell everybody why No Spell Lasts Forever. So it's all yours.
So No Spell Lasts Forever is a modern fantasy series about a magic-using criminal who meets an early death and makes a deal with the devil for a second chance at life. But she has to ask herself if she's the kind of person who can follow through with that. And if not, what does it mean for the fate of her eternal soul?
Awesome.
I like it. I like it.
As always, it's always great to have you on the show. You're always welcome back. You don't have to ask.
Thank you.
All you have to do is just hit that link and then sign up whenever you want. But congratulations again on your campaign. You got 23 days to go, and you're killing it. And excited for you.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Exciting.
Yeah, so for everybody watching, make sure you check it out. The link is in the chat, and you obviously have a catch up tier and all that other stuff. So it's issue 4, and you guys would be like, "Well, how do I get the rest of it?" It's on there. So pledge. Make sure you do that, and support indie. Thank you so much, Sarah. Appreciate you coming on.
Oh, thank you. It was great.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
All right, that was Sarah Cooke. No Spell Lasts Forever. Link is in the chat, and it's also in the summary, guys. I'm going to add it again to the chat in case you haven't seen it. There it is. Go ahead and get yourself a copy. It's fantastic. You got you get the back issues as well. So it's issues 1 through 4. It's running now, and it's pretty dope. But we do have a topic tonight, George.
That's right. That's right.
Man, I think it's about time that we get our meds. What do you think?
Let's do it.
Yeah, if I could get my screen to move, there we go. Let's do it.
It's time for your medicine.
Why you may not see indie comics in bags and boards. ¿Qué pasa? What is that, bro?
Bags and boards. What are bags and boards, right? First of all, what are bags and boards? For those who don't know, bags and boards are the little plastic bags that we put the comics in to protect them from getting damaged. And it's what collectors use. If you go to comic book conventions and you go through the crates, you'll see some of those. They cost money.
Mucho dinero.
They do. They do, and every penny counts when it comes to these things. So you may not see some of your favorite indie comics in bags and boards. I don't know about you, Sam, but I know that for a little bit, I haven't been using those at cons,
right?
Because I was doing the math, and for those who are watching, you did a really good episode on, I think it was on here. I think it was on the Craze with 10 or less a while ago, on the breakdown of what it costs to do a comic book, right? And Sarah, who was on the show, can attest to this, and anybody who's done it can attest to this. It costs a lot of money to produce. All right. But all my bags, I went quite some time just pulling the boards from my old collection, right? Because it costs money. So when you break down the cost of one comic book to make, right? It could be anywhere between $3,000, $5,000, $6,000, whatever dollars, right? It can be. And by the time you print it out, say you do 100 prints, books are getting very expensive to print, especially if it's in color. You're looking at about, $3 to $4 now, right? To print out. You got to ship it. All that. You take that into consideration, you're spending a lot of money. You know, if you really were gonna
Cheddar.
charge what it costs, you'd be charging over $100 per book. You know what I mean, to consumers. You're not gonna do
Hey,
that.
cheddar cheese, bro. Cheddar cheese.
You're not gonna do that. You're not gonna do that. So, in order to keep the cost low, some things go by the wayside.
Some things
Especially
have to
fans.
give.
You got to give. And unfortunately, in this case, for me, it's been the bags and the boards. I don't know how you feel about that, Sam.
Well, yeah. So I think for me, good night. For me, I used to bag and board all my comics when I do shows, all the time, right? But then, what it did was it takes up so much space in the long box, right? Because that also adds space and it also adds weight. And so so then next, I went from 3 long boxes to 5 long boxes because I had to bag and board, and it was just a labor to do all that stuff. And so then what happened was with the cost, like you said, the cost of printing. Not only that, I mean, my Kickstarter campaigns, everything's bagged and board, right?
Yes.
So you get everything for the Kickstarter campaign, you get it delivered bagged and board. So when you're thinking about your shipping costs, so when you're paying for shipping, you're also paying for that bag and board, right? So that's also incurred in that cost, right? So shipping has increased, the cost of printing has increased. And so I try to find ways to be competitive monetarily with everyone in Artist Alley when I'm at conventions. So, I go to convention, depends on the size of the event will be determined on how I price my product. But it's just been a burden to have to sit down for hours and bag and board, because you're talking about, I have 7 issues of one title, then I have 3 issues of another title, then I have another, 3 issues of another title. And then so bagging and boarding, you're talking about 14 titles, 50 copies each or 100 copies each. That's a lot of money. And it's a lot of time. And then it would mean more weight to carry stuff, because I try to take at least 50 copies of each issue with me to events at minimum. I take 100 copies of number 1, but then I take 50 of everything else because number 1 usually sells most. But yeah, it's just grown to be expensive. And I notice, until you brought this up, I was watching conventions. I noticed that every other table does not have a bag and board. If it's not somebody who has a publisher behind them, and it's just an indie, most of the time they have no bag and boards. They just put it on the rack and go from there.
Well, I think part of that too is because a lot of the folks who come to the conventions, right? They don't know about bags and boards,
No.
right? Like they're okay. Buying a comic, we were putting it in bags and boards because we're collectors, and that's what we did. Now, don't get me wrong. Listen, I have bags and boards with me. So if somebody says, "Hey, do you have a bag and board?" and they're collecting, they want to protect the book, I'll give it to them. But they're not already in those bags and boards.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? It's like just almost like you have to kind of request it, and then you'll get it, because it adds up. And listen, it adds maybe 50 cents, right, to it. But you do the math. You got 100 books. It costs, or everything costs. Everything costs. What's up, Grant? How you doing, my man? So that's why you may see less and less of them.
Yeah.
Less and less of them. And don't get me wrong, when I go to the comic book shop and I buy my comics, I have a stack of bag and boards at home that I put my stuff in. Now, do you buy? How they have the resealable ones that you can just reseal? You don't need the tape anymore. Do you have those, Sam, or do you still use tape?
I have the resealable ones. You mean for bag and board?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I have the ones that well, no, it's just you remove
take that strip off, and then
I have those. And then I have both. I have ones that are not resealable and ones that are just, they're not sealable at all. It's just a larger flap that you can fold into the bag. So I have both because I ordered so many. Like I have probably about, and it really is just time. I have in my storage about 400 bags and boards. Yeah. But it's just it's time. When I'm thinking about the time I'm going to sacrifice to sit down for a couple of hours and bag and board versus sit down at a draft table and draw. Always have a browser copy at the top of the stock. Yeah.
Yeah, because that one's gonna get killed. That one's
yeah.
gonna get mangled. Everybody's
Yeah.
gonna pick that one up. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's that, with Comics Wellspring, they come with a paper cover, right? So it's already protected. So I usually have the first comic on the rack as a sample that they can pick up, and then I have those, and then I just explain to them when they buy it, you just tear this off, and it's part of a protection. What's up, JD?
I don't like that sleeve, bro.
I don't like it either, but it actually helps the comic fan that's buying they're like, oh, it has a level of protection. It's almost like it compensates for the bag and board.
So Grant says my wife helps me bag and board while we're watching Netflix or Hulu. Yeah, no, and like you said, Sam, for the Kickstarters and for the crowdfunding campaigns, yes, everything gets bagged and board. There's no question about, a bag and a board goes with that comic because you have to protect it in transit, right? So that's always going to get a bag and board. We're more talking about at shows. Like when you take it to conventions, do you bag and board every single issue you have?
Now,
because again, it's an additional cost, not just time, but money cost.
There is the big Texas Comic Con, which is a really big show. I will have my stuff bag and board for that event. And Bell County.
Why is that? Why are you having them?
It's a bigger show, and I just, for some reason, I just felt like I want to have them bagged and board for that event. It's the first time there. I want to have a great first impression, and I think for there. But all the other shows that I've done, they've already gotten used to me without the bag and board. But for that show, it's a big show. It's just one of those things that get stuck in my head. I'm like, I'm going to bag and board them for that event. Big Texas Comic Con and Bell County. I really love that show. I did it last year, and the fans are amazing there. And I didn't bag and board it last year, but this year I'm going to do it for that show.
Yeah.
But because I'm sitting on it, I got 400 bags and boards in my storage. So because I have the supply, so I bag and board all my Kickstarter campaigns, and I stopped doing for the conventions. But these two events I'm going to do it for.
Yeah. I have a show coming up, like I mentioned at the beginning, in April. It'll be in Jersey, and I have some single issues of Wonder Duck, which is something that I haven't printed out single issues for in a while.
Yeah.
And but again, I will have my single issues, and if somebody, a collector or somebody who understands about bags and boards comes over and says, hey, do you have a bag and board for this? Obviously, I'm not going to say, hey, it's going to be an extra 50 cents. No, I'm gonna provide them with that. But for the most part, people don't normally ask, and they'll take the book just like that. At most, they'll ask for a bag.
That's a great point, JD. Yes, all of my variant covers that I sell at a premium, they are bagged and boarded.
Yeah, that's a good. That's
those are the only bagged and boarded. All of my variant covers.
Yeah.
Good point. Thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah, that makes sense. To bag and board like a premium book, like like an alternate cover, or something that obviously is more than just the $10 or whatever it is that you're charging for the book now. If it's a $20 book, you want to protect it, right? So
because issue number 1 has 3 variant covers, and the ones that sell quite a bit are the Rambo cover and the Matrix cover. And I always have them bagged and boarded.
Yeah. So that's what that's why you may not. And again, in the chat, do you guys bag all your books? Do you bag and board the books at shows? Not for Kickstarters, not for crowdfunding campaigns. You should bag and board all your Kickstarter campaign books. You don't want those.
Yeah, I had a knucklehead ship me.
Don't do that.
A Kickstarter.
Yeah, don't do that.
In an envelope. In a manila envelope. It wasn't even bagged and board. I was like, yo, and it came rolled up. I was like, well, and they charged like a premium for shipping. I was like, I really wanted to find the guy and take him outside at 3 o'clock. It's like I wanted to take it those high school days. I was like, yo, this is where you cross the line.
Nah. You got it. You have to
cross the line. And I removed them from everything. I was like, you know what? I'm never gonna back you again. I was like, the disrespect, So hilarious. I make sure I package everything nicely. I bubble wrap stuff. I do all that stuff. I take extra care when I'm shipping stuff.
Yeah. But at shows, like when you're sitting behind a table and stuff like that, obviously it's going to be, it's some of that stuff may not be bagged. But yeah, it's probably why you won't see that at shows. They do cost a little extra, you know.
Yeah.
It's not crazy, but
it is. I mean, yeah, not only that, the cost of printing has gone up.
Oh,
the cost of shipping has gone up. The cost of supplies have gone up, and the time to get stuff printed has been extended. The time frame, you know, they because of the demand on the printers. So everything is not in the creator's favor, right? So I think, you know, even with that, I try to price it competitively, you know, but without me burning money. Standard practice for Indie Planet after Kickstarter to have them mailed directly to bankers. They come bagged, just not boarded in that funky box envelope. I do bag and board all my campaigns.
So I know what you're talking about, Casey, because when I ordered Kablam is probably one of the few companies that allows you to print one copy of a book and not force you to do a run 25 or whatever it is, right? So I have ordered like a single issue just to see how it looks, see how it prints out. And when they ship it to me, they ship it in the Gemini, you know, the box. They do ship it in the box, but inside the box is the book in a bag, but no board. They don't put a board on the book, which doesn't protect it. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, the Gemini protects it, obviously, but if I'm gonna ship something to a backer, I'm gonna add the board.
Because in the box, in the Gemini mailer, it's gonna bounce around, so the edges are gonna get creased.
The edges could get
You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's why I mean I always think it's good practice if you're gonna ship anything, make sure it's bagged and boarded. You know, because it's that extra layer. Because you know, and some people want to go and get it graded. Some people want to go and, you know, get it, you know, and so it's like on my wall, I have all of my first covers all framed up on the wall. And some people like doing that stuff.
World at War Comics. What up, Thomas? So I haven't signed into my Kickstarter for a while. And you know, when you know, Kickstarter will send you emails. For some reason, my email, they're bouncing back to them. So I had like 14 freaking surveys that I hadn't filled out, bro. And I'm like, yo, I haven't got any books in a while, like from the Kickstarters that I support. I'm like, I'm wondering what's going on. It's because I hadn't filled out the freaking survey. So World at War Comics, big shout out to Thomas Hall, who has a great book. And I pledged to your campaign, and I just filled out the survey. So thanks, Thomas. I can't wait to get my book. But
one of those. You know who does that to me all the time? Aniba.
I never do
survey.
it. Yeah, no, I never do it. I usually get the email. You know what I mean? I usually get the email, and I fill it out and I send it up. And I haven't signed. I'm always on my phone, on the app on my phone, and the app doesn't update you that you have a survey for whatever reason. At least I don't have it set up that way. Yeah. So anyway, that's it. But anyway, yes. So big shout out to Thomas. He's got a great show. Actually, you guys got to check that out. World at War Comics. He's got a great podcast, Sam. You should probably try to get on that and talk a little bit about Doody on there, because he's got tons of followers, and it's great exposure for us. Big shout out to him. He does that. That's amazing. We're gonna have to have him on this show eventually. To talk about his stuff.
Absolutely.
But yeah, man. Yeah. So that's bag and boards. Do you bag and board your books at shows, conventions?
Yeah, man.
At conventions, or do you kind of say, I bypass that? It costs a lot of money.
Yeah. And so for those of you out there, I'm going to give you a sneak peek.
Oh, let's
one of the pages of There's Landing in My Toilet, number 7, No Boo for You, Catching Ghosts of What We Do. But before I give you that sneak peek, I want to remind you guys that Doody does have a soundtrack. Doody has a soundtrack. So here is a sneak peek onto 3 of the tracks. You just get the choruses from the track for Doody soundtrack, which is going to be available on the Kickstarter.
Spicy pepper, what a sight. Doody the green alien trying to stay unseen. Herman thinks he's a jalapeno, bright and mean, but Doody's not a pepper, no, he's not that hot. He's just an alien trying to avoid getting caught. Super Doody, hero true, standing up for me and you. Everybody runs away when Super Doody saves the day. Doody, 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 from the stars he came. With the Super Doody juice, he will win this game. Herman the shoe won't walk, thinks Doody is a spicy treat, but Doody's got all the courage and he can't be beat.
and he can't be beat. So yeah, so here is so that track is available. The entire 4-song EP is going to be available on the Kickstarter to everybody. It'll be for free if we break one of the stretch goals.
Okay.
So it's going to be there. So let me share the screen on what I am. Let me see the window. Here we go. Here's one of the pages. Here's a sneak peek onto Duty book number 7. Can you see it? Let me get that out
you
the
gotta
way.
take the other layer off because that's dope. Yeah,
There it is.
There it is. Nice.
So there's one of the pages from issue number 7. So this issue has really stretched me as a creative. I feel like I'm growing as an artist and as a writer with this issue. I'm really having fun with this, and I'm excited to share this with everybody. And so that's one of the pages from issue number 7 that's available on this campaign. And then Herman's getting his own story, which is being published by Make Better Comics. Is coming out on Free Comic Book Day throughout stores all over Texas. And I'll be doing a book signing in one of the stores on May 3rd for Free Comic Book Day. And here's a sample page for that. So this is the first page of the Herman story, and Doodie's in it. And you'll find out why Doodie's in it and what's Herman's backstory. They're having a conversation before Herman starts telling him about his history. So it's going to be fun. I'm excited about that. And yeah, more to come. But what is this? Thank you so much, man. Thank you.
That could be a cover, bro. Like that's like
I know. I was like, I could make that a print, a cover.
That looks really nice. That looks
that one took me. I started at 7 in the morning. I finished around 8 in the morning. I finished around 7:30 at night. So I from pencils, inks, colors, the whole bit. Thank you, Lou. What part of Texas? So I will put out in Dallas. So in Dallas, Texas, there are several stores, and I'm not sure what other parts of Texas, but I'm in Dallas. And so I'll be doing, I'm not sure if I'm going to be at Collected Comics or there's which one we haven't landed on which comic store I'll be doing the book signing on, but I will be posting it. In fact, next week on this show, when we launch the Kickstarter right here on Catch the Craze on Tuesday night, which we launch, I will share where I will be on May 3rd to do the book signing for Herman. And not only that, there's another Kickstarter coming out next week as well from Charter Comics. And if you don't know, William Russell, he has Psycho Sal, and Duty did a mashup as one of the covers for Psycho Sal. So here it is. It's going to be available on their Kickstarter next week when they launch. And there's Duty as Psycho Sal. You can get that on their Kickstarter campaign. It's going to be awesome. If you're a fan of Duty, you're a fan of my work, and you're a fan of Psycho Sal, you get the best of both worlds. And so head over to Kickstarter next week to get a copy of Psycho Sal, the Duty cover. So yeah, lots happening for Duty this year. I'm really excited. And the Art of Duty book is coming out in the fall. If you're an artist and you want to get featured in the Art of Duty book, which is a 200-page book, which will be distributed to bookstores nationwide, send me your version of my character Duty, and you'll be featured in the book. The first 20 people that send me their stuff will be featured in the book, and it's going to come out in the fall. And I'll be launching it on Kickstarter in the fall. So yeah, I'm excited about it, man. I just finished the Kickstarter page. There's a collector's box.
What's in the bizots?
Yeah, there's a collector's box, and there's a 48-hour special for this collector's box. So
that's for those watching. That's next week.
That's
April
next week.
1st. Here on the show, we're launching the campaign live.
Yes,
we do have a guest that day, right?
We have a guest
from
coming 7 to 7:30, and then at 7:30 we launch. So
now that's 7:30 Eastern Standard Time, or
7:30 Central Time. It's 8:30 Eastern Standard Time.
It's 8:30 here in the East Coast.
Yeah.
So make sure you tune into that. It's gonna be a good time. We're gonna have fun.
Yeah, and when we break 100 backers, everybody's gonna get this free sticker, Duty Falls sticker. If you're a fan of Gravity Falls, here's a matchup that's gonna be available. So when we break 100 backers, so that's gonna be available, and there's a lot of great stuff. There's gonna be, if you join us here next Tuesday, live on Cast the Craze, we'll be having raffles. If we make our goal that first night, we will be raffling off some cool stuff, but you got to be here. And then the last thing, this campaign is so different. It's really stretched me because there's 3 variant covers with 3 alternate endings, and only one cover has the right ending, and you won't know if you have the one with the right ending that leads into issue number 8 until you get that book at home after it's been fulfilled. And when you get it, it's going to come with a free gift and a note that tells
Nice.
you have the right ending, which leads into issue number 8. So it's going to be fun. And then lastly, there is the homage cover to Fantastic Four #1. So there's an homage cover that's going to be dope. So here it is right here. There's the homage cover to Fantastic Four #1, which again, I wasn't going to do 4 covers because there's 3 variant covers plus the homage cover. But the homage cover is because I got a lot of homage collectors that hit me up on Instagram and said, "Hey, man, you got to do an homage cover. We'll be there." And so I really did it for those fans out there.
Look at Barney's comment. I'm still here. Do I get some good Catch the Craze friend points? Thanks for being here, Barney. Thanks for always being here. Big shout out to Barney Smith.
Yeah.
He's got a podcast called
Story.
Comic. Yes, Story Comics. So make sure you check
Yes.
that out on the YouTube. And I don't know if you have it as a podcast, Barney, but yeah, definitely check him out, man. He's got one of the best interviewers in the indie game.
Yes.
Barney
really
asks
smooth.
great
Barney
freaking
reminds me
questions.
of the guy that you would hang out at an Irish pub, smoking a cigar, having a bottle of cognac,
Interesting.
and just enjoying a great conversation.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's got a is it now, listen, we said YouTube. Is it a radio show now? Is it a radio station?
Bro.
I know he was doing something behind the scenes. So I don't want to blow up your spot, Barney, but if you're still here, clarify that for us.
Yeah.
But yeah, so and also just so you guys know, I will be at the Super Jersey Comic Expo. That's the name of the thing. It's going to be held next weekend, not next weekend, at the end of April 26th and 27th. It's going to be in Jackson, TWP. What does that mean, Sam? You're from Jersey. TWP, New Jersey. It's the Dome at Adventure Crossing. That's where it's going to be.
Township.
Okay. There you go. Township. A few people that we've had on our show will be there. Obviously, San Martino is going to be there. He's always in the chat. He'll be there. Kike, who we had on the show in the past, will be there. Enrique Kike Lopez will be there. J.M. Santos will be there.
Isn't he an inker?
Yes. Yep. Chris Mad will be there. So there's going to be a few people that will be at that show. So if you guys are,
I'm a little annoyed. I'm a little annoyed with Jersey, bro, because the moment I left, they popped up with like 20 different events, bro, like Texas.
Tons.
I get all the feeds, and then they hit me up because they still think I live in Texas.
Yeah, no.
Hey, are you gonna come to our show? Hey, we'd
Yeah.
like to have you. I said, I live in Texas.
Yeah, no.
I was like, where were you when I was there? You weren't even around.
Yep. Big shout out to Geek Boy Press. I've known Geek Boy Press for a long time. They're going to be there. So it's going to be a good show. It's going to be a fun show. So make sure you check it out. It's April 26th and 27th. Go to the website. It's superjerseyexpo.com and get your tickets.
That's next week?
That's end of April. April 26th, 27th. Yeah. So
that's dope. That's
dope.
Dope.
It's going to be a good time. It's going to be, I mean, I haven't done a con since last year. So this will be the first one of the year. So it'll be good.
My next convention is in July. The first week in July, I'll be at the Retro Expo.
Oh, yeah. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, I'll be at the Retro Expo in July. It's my first time there. In fact, it was, I think, Aurelius who told me about Retro Expo. And so I hit them up and I got in. I got a corner table, so which is dope. So I'm excited about that. It'll be my first time there, so I don't know what to expect. But from what I understand from Aurelius, this is a happening event. It's popping. It's popping. It's fire. So we'll see. And then I'll be doing Bell County, which I'm really excited about. I love Bell County Comic Con. It's such a huge. I mean, the crowd is massive, and but they really love comics, bro.
Dude, you're talking about how good that show is, bro. I was watching. Big shout out to you, Art of Samuel on YouTube. Check that channel out. Yeah, I finally saw the episode of the superhero.
Oh, you finally saw that?
Yeah,
one?
I hadn't seen it. I hadn't. I was like, oh my god, brought back memories, dude. I've never. It's funny. Okay, so for those who don't know us, obviously, we've done a lot of conventions throughout our careers as independent creators, and we never leave early. It just doesn't happen. It doesn't happen.
No.
The Saturday of that particular show was the first time that the show closed at 8 and we were out of there by 6 because it was that bad, dude. I was watching that video and I'm like, yo, it brought me back how bad that show was. It was bad, dude. It was bad. It was bad.
Really? Yeah, it was bad. It was it sucked.
It
It sucked.
It was
Superhero Comic Con is not a
oh,
Comic Con.
bro.
It's a celebrity event. It's a celebrity event. Artist Alley. They just selling tables just to make money. But
It was
the
bad.
cost of entry was anywhere between $75 to $500 to get in. And
Because
it
of the
was
signatures.
crazy. There were, I mean, and people didn't have money to spend. I mean, they had what's his name? That inker for comics. He's a fantastic penciler and inker.
Well, they had Arthur Adams was there,
And then the other guy,
nobody would have known.
hot, like
David Finch was there. of
Finch.
course.
David
Yeah.
Finch. So you had
Yeah.
Arthur Adams, and David Finch. They weren't even on the billing. They weren't even on panels.
You wouldn't
I was
know.
like, you don't know what would know. And
Yeah.
and then you had some really cool up and comers in the indie game in anime and whatever. And they were packing up on Friday. It was a 4-day show. It started on Thursday. And people were packing up on Friday, and on Saturday we're just leaving the tables. Like, you know what? I'm out of here. This sucks.
We ended up at the at the Riverwalk early on Saturday.
Riverwalk, bro. We're getting our drink
That was
on. We
dope.
went to go see Bad Boys. We were just having
Bad
fun in the
Boys, yeah,
Riverwalk. I mean, we were
yeah.
singing karaoke. We were doing all
Yeah,
that stuff.
It was nice. It was
Because
nice. It was a good
that
time.
event was just like, no way, Jose. They also do GalaxyCon. I was like, nah, I'm not doing anything that that company runs. I won't do
Yeah.
because they just focus on the celebrities. Don't call it a Comic Con if you're going, if you're focusing just on the celebrities. So I always look at the billing. If I
Yeah.
see all the money and all the marketing is going on just celebrities, I stay away from it, far, far away. I'm want to go where the fans are, the comic book fans, the collectors, the diehard lovers of the comic book game, and that's where I want to be. I don't want to be there when they just want to go and get autographs from The Rock and all that stuff, whatever, because they're not there for me. And it's just a waste of money.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. I agree. Well, listen, next week, guys, don't forget.
Yes.
Make sure you tune in because we will be launching the brand new Kickstarter campaign for There's an Alien in My Toilet, and it's going to be issue number 7.
Yeah.
Okay, sign up for it. You can scan the QR code right there. Or, there's a link all over the place here.
There's a link in the chat that goes right on the screen. You can
sign up because we're going to be going live. There's going to be giveaways. There's going to be tons of stuff that we're going to be doing that day. We do have I don't know who the guest is.
We have Dan Barlow next week.
Oh, Dan Barlow. Okay,
Yes.
yeah, Dan. Oh, Dan's awesome, dude. So big
Yes.
shout out to Dan Barlow, big supporter of the show. He's going to be on with us, and then the second half of that thing is just going to be a duty extravaganza.
It's going to be fun, man. And again, in this campaign, everything is tied to this campaign. So, we have Ghost Hunters, right? It's a spoof on Ghostbusters. And does Duty become one? I don't know, right? But, they're coming after Duty because Alan thinks there's a ghost in the house. If you read issue number 6, then you know that Alan thinks there's a ghost in the house. So he calls Nobu for you, catching ghosts of what we do. And so for those of you who are fans of Duty Juice, you're going to find out about Duty Juice in this issue.
You're fans of Duty Juice.
Nice. Yes.
Nice.
You're going to find out about Duty Juice in this issue. And there are pogs tied to this. There's a limited edition trading card set only for this comic, for this issue. There's stickers tied to this issue. Everything is tied to this issue. So it's going to be dope. I'm excited about this.
It's going to be a good time.
It's going to be a good time. So join us next week. Thank you for the 54 of you who have signed up. Man, yes. Thank you to the 54 of you who have signed up. But it's going to be fun. I'm launching on Tuesday, and then the goal is to get funded in the first 48 hours, and that'll be amazing. And so we could just unlock some amazing stretch goals. Again, the soundtrack is available for free if we break 2,000, and so everybody gets it for free. You get all 4 songs, and then there's also stretch goals where you can get Herman as a digital download, the story to Herman. For those of you who don't live in Texas and won't be able to get a copy of Free Comic Book Day, you'll get a digital download if we break a stretch goal. So there's a lot of things available. We'll talk more about it next week. I'm excited about it. But again, thank you, Sarah, for coming on the show. Yes. Thank you, everybody, for being on, for being in the chats, for watching us on Twitch and on Facebook and on YouTube. And for those of you who are listening to us on replay on Spotify and all of this street, iHeartRadio, again, thank you again. Please hit the leave a comment, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't done so, recommend it to a friend. We are Catch the Craze podcast. We are the longest independent comic book podcast in the game, founded in 2005, the first of its kind. And we launched it when we realized that there was no platform for the little guys. So it's for indies by indies. We love what we do. We get to talk to fabulous creators like Sarah Cooke and get to watch everybody blossom in this really challenging game of comics. But we love it, and that's why we do it. I'm really excited. So thank you all for joining us tonight. And I hope that you all come back and see us next week. And with that said, I am Sam the Crazy Man Vera,
George the Dreamer Medina,
and we are No, it's talking about my friend Acquiesce. Say my name, right?
This is what you were thinking? Oh my God.
How he described me? He said, I'm the
What? Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze. Catch the Craze. You are listening to Catch the Craze. This is Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze.